ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Tíbi tirẹ̀ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, kò mà ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ká ṣe bí ẹni kú, káwọ́ ẹni tí ó ṣe dàrú ẹni. Ṣàṣà ènìyàn nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní lẹ́yìn, tẹrú tọmọ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní lójú ẹni. Ọmọ aráyé abániwọ̀nràn pa orí dání wọn. Ayé ò fẹ́ ní ìfọ̀rọ̀, orí ẹni ní pé kó yẹ ni. You gotta be strong cause the world is a battlefield. Òjò láyé ó gbé ní lọ, bá ò bá mọ̀ wẹ̀. Má ṣe lọ́lọ́ tó láì bá dé, stress of ìdákùn ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Ilé ayé ogun ni ó gbọ̀gbọ́n. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà rẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká má ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Tíbi tirẹ̀ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, kò mà ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ṣé rántí a ò mẹ́rin ìjọba ẹ̀wẹ̀kú ẹ̀wẹ̀lẹ̀. Àwọn lọ́tẹ̀ ni wọ́n dìde wọn lájànà kó lè rínú gbọ́gbé. Àṣenìtàn bá ní ìdàrú ṣálọ̀ máa ráyé. Àwọ̀ fẹ́lẹ́ bòónù kò jẹ́ àríkùn wá ṣe bí. You gotta be wise to survive and keep your sanity. Ọjà ọ̀dájú ní ilé ayé, o ní láti mọ̀ ọ́n rà. Àyàgbé ọ̀gẹ̀gẹ̀ tó bá ti lówó, ọ̀yàn òun ló wà lọ́jọ́ ogún dé. Ọwọ́ epo láyé ńlá, wọ́n kì í lá jẹ́jẹ́. Alámọ̀ a ò mọ̀nú, ẹni ayé yẹn kó rọra ṣe. Ṣọ́ra, ṣọ́ra. Pọ́sọ̀ fura, pọ́sọ̀ ti jọ́ sí iná. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà rẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká má ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ o. Tíbi tirẹ̀ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, kò mà ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́ o. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà rẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká má ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Tíbi tirẹ̀ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, kò mà ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ilẹ̀kùn bá jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà rẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká má ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi tíbi tirẹ̀ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, àgbà tó ti fi tó mọ̀ ńlá. Yòókù lọ́gbọ́n, ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà rẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká má ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Ikú pàlà mi, ọ̀rọ̀ yẹ lọ́lọ́dọ̀ ògiri. Àgbẹ̀lẹ̀ tó wọ́n ti fi gbogbo bàjọ́ra ìmọ́lẹ̀. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́.
Yes, so good evening, my people. It's a pleasure to welcome you to another special edition of the Jabbajantis Show. I remain your regular host, Akin, and I want to welcome you especially from whatever part of the world you are listening to me from. Thank you for connecting with me tonight, and I sincerely hope it's going to be another exciting discussion tonight. Beshen Wole, kindly help me share this show on your platforms. Invite somebody, tag somebody, Share it on your storyline. Send out the links to people that you think this sort of show will interest. And let's get as many people as possible to connect. That is your own little contribution towards helping other people. You never know whose life you might be saving. So please do that. And I want to especially thank those who have taken this up as a duty to do every week without even me reminding them. Thank you very much. It shows you're proud of what we do here, and you can actually put your name, your face, your integrity behind it. And you also have the desire to help other people. I'm not asking people to share the show because I want crowd, or I want to be popular, or I want fame. That is not my intention. My intention, or my passion, or my strong desire is just to reach out to people who have been, destined that I would connect with. Àwọn tá a rán mi sí ni mò ń jíṣẹ́ fún. And every show might be intended just for one person. And once that person is reached and they are able to use whatever they hear from this platform for their advancement, for their progress, to make that needed change in their life, then I'm fulfilled. I'm fulfilled. So that is the reason why I implore you to share the show. You never know. Maybe the person is coming through you, is coming through another person. And technology has helped us so much now that we can reach out to people in far places. You don't have to travel down. You don't have to congregate them. With a platform like this, people in areas that are thousands of miles away from you can be reached, either now or at some later date, because these things are just there and they are archived on on all the platforms. So anyone can stumble on them even 5, 10, 15 years to come. So sometimes what we're doing now is not even for the present. It might be for somebody coming on later on. They'll stumble on things like this at the most critical point of their life, and this would help them to move in the right direction. This would help them to make the best decision at that moment. This is why we do what we do. And I hope you understand. Right. Before we get straight into the show, let me quickly welcome those who are already on the show and have indicated their presence. Tonight, Olorukati Baokao, the person that is going on the VIP corner tonight is no other person than my fluffy sister, Esther Diola. She's back after several weeks of absence. And tonight, wọ́n rọ́ wọlé ni. ń pè ẹ̀yin báwo, mo dé sí yín lọ́rùn, and she's back. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for joining tonight. Thank you for coming back as a number one. Ebumokio Ekwataro, thank you for connecting as well. Ìyàwó Ọlọ́wọ́ Ṣíbí, she's back on Facebook. Mi ò mẹ́ni tó máa parí ìjà láàrin àwọn àti Mark. She's constantly being sent to jail. So she's back. I don't know why you're not getting notification, but it could be part of àwọn ìjà tẹ́ ẹ̀ tí ì parí. So maybe they're still withholding some, I don't know, functions from you, or you need to either set the notification alert. I don't know how it works, but I suppose you're supposed to get the stuff. And I have my sister again back on the show, Abibi, a very strong lady, very, very strong lady. When I say strong lady, very strong lady. I know she wouldn't want me to say much about her, so let's leave it at that. But it's a pleasure to have you on the show again. She was here last week, and I think she really enjoyed what we did. And I asked her to, give us another chance, check in again, and see whether that one was just a fluke. But this platform has been running for 3 years now. And in 3 years, I think I've only not had a show for maybe two Fridays in 3 years. So that's not a bad record. So welcome to Dagbajantis, and it's nice having you as part of a family, and I hope you become a regular. And one day I'd like to have you as a guest on the show, if you will give me the privilege. And so don't worry, we can discuss that later. Right. To all my people on Facebook, I greet you, those on Twitter, and the rest of you on Facebook. You are there, but I can't see you. I don't know you are there, but I greet you. But if you want me to give you a special shout out and just say hi to me, and then Maki. To those who will be watching the show at some later date, I greet you as well. The silent listeners, the invisible listeners, thank you for always turning up to listen to my nonsense on this show. Tonight is going to be another interesting session, and I hope I can make it as short as possible. What I want to do tonight is to leave you with a homework. My job tonight is simply to highlight certain points or make certain observations for each one of us to go and work on. And that includes me. Remember, I've said this several times on this show that I'm not standing in the position of, I'm better than you guys, or I know better than you guys. No, I'm still actively in search of knowledge myself. I'm constantly, expanding the perimeters of my ignorance. So anything I share on this platform also affect me. There are things either working on I've worked on, or things I'm, discovering myself. And I thought, you know what, I need to share this with my people. So anything I share here tonight also affect me. I have work to do as well, and I have things to improve on. So the job tonight is to, call our attention to certain things and leave us to go and work on them. Remember, I don't have the ability to change anyone, and I don't intend to. It's a futile effort. But what I can do is to stir up a conversation within you. What I can do is to inspire you towards that path of change. What I can do is to open your eyes to certain things that you are not even aware of. What I can do is to emphasize on those things you've trivialized that maybe it could matter. I can actually make them matter. What I can do is to, um, shed light on those areas that are darkened to you, or make you see things from a different perspective. So, and that's why I encourage everyone to come here with an open mind. When you see the topic, don't just assume, oh yeah, Professor, come, just come. I might say it differently. I might say something you've not heard before. I might, say things that will add to what you already know, and I might say something that you would think, oh, I never see it this way, and that's really the point. Just for you to live here with something to work on, just for you to live here with, another insight, just for you to live here with that, desire to work on yourself and be a better person. Because I believe if people know better, they will do better. And that again is what I'm going to do here tonight. So without boring you, the discussion for tonight is what I titled The Poisons of the Past. The poisons of the past. We all know what a poison means, something that is harmful to the body, something that, can kill or is injurious to your health. You can inhale poison, you can, ingest poison. It can be, put into your body intravenously. But in whatever form it comes into you, it's something that can harm or kill you. But what we want to talk about tonight is the type of poison that it's not really tangible. It has to do with our emotions, it has to do with our experiences, and they are things that has happened to us in the past. But these things, if they are not properly dealt with and you allow them to creep into your present, they will even poison your present. So you find some people today who are stuck. No matter how they think they try, they can't just, forge ahead. Things aren't just happening for them the way they want. Some will blame other people. Some can just, place a finger on what the problem is. And oftentimes, it's not the battle of today that they are fighting, but that of yesterday. Ogun àná lọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń jà lónìí. And we as human, we are we are an embodiment of experiences, memories, and other randomness, things that happen to us here and there. These are all the things that, come together to make us who we are. And that's why we are different, because we have all been exposed to different experiences. And so we're not really, the same in terms of our realities, in terms of the life we live, in terms of who we are today, in terms of what we have achieved. You have some people who had good platforms to build on. They are far ahead in life. And you think because you are age mate and because maybe you are contemporaries, maybe because you attended the same institutions, you wonder why you are not where they are. You need to, wake yourself up to certain realities and look back. How was your own past? Did you have the kind of advantage that they had to build on when you were trying to, find yourself out of the mud? They were already sprinting. So how do you hope that you will catch up with them? Unless they slip up, they fall, and they can't get up. That's when you can, actually move your way and catch up with them. Okay, now looking at that, your own past from this illustration that I've just made, you might be wondering, okay, yes, it's because I don't have this, I don't have that. That's why I'm not what I am today. And then you get yourself stuck in that past that you didn't have. And as such, you don't do what you're supposed to do today. You don't commit yourself to the opportunities you have around you today. You don't take advantage of them. You are still there blaming what didn't happen to you in the past, which slowed you down, right? So there are pains from our past that is, jeopardizing our present chances. That is jeopardizing, the happiness that today has to offer us. There are memories that we can't just get past, which every time we allow them to, creep into our present, it just ruin whatever precious moment you have. It just ruins them. So the question is, are we defined by our past? And the answer I have is yes. We can be defined by our past. And no, we shouldn't be. So if, for example, you come from a poor background, a poor home, it's not a determinant that you cannot be successful in life unless you allow that to hold you back. So you have no control over the country you were born in, the race you came as. You have no control over the family you were born into. Bóyá wọ́n pẹran lọ́jọ́ tán bí ẹ gan, bóyá wọ́n pe léré, bóyá wọ́n tiẹ̀ ìkómọ ẹ gan. All those things are not your fault. You had no control over them. But you see, what you end up becoming is entirely on you. Wípé wọn ayé ẹ ò pariwo ńgbà tán bí ẹ yẹn kò mean pé ìwọ gan láti lò gbèsè ayé in quietness. You can actually live your life such that you can overshadow your past. And examples abound around us of people who have done this, who did not allow their past to determine them or to define them. And on the other hand, we must not underestimate the influence that our past can have over us. Because whether you like it or not, we are today an aggregate of our choices, past choices, decisions, things that happened, things that didn't happen, things that should have happened differently. All these things come together to form who we are today. To, like, if they want to write my story, it will be different from someone else's story, because all these things I, experienced, all these things I went through, all these things that happened to me, somehow define how I live today. So I cannot totally disassociate myself from my past experiences. And I can't ignore them. I can't pretend they didn't happen. And whether I like it or not, they affected me in some way. They shape my thoughts, they shape my way of life, they shape my perception of other people. And in the end, they are part of me, I'm part of them. But where the issue lies is when this event, especially we're referring to those negative events now, when they affect us to an extent where they damage us, when they affect us to a point where they render us incapacitated, they render us from functioning, they damage self-esteem, they keep us stagnant. That is where the danger is. So some of these things are what I want us to look at tonight, and which I'll leave each one of us to, in our private moment, you can ruminate over them and see how some of these things still impact you today. And until you do something about them, they will keep holding you back. So I'll start from, I always like to go to the foundation, and I'll start from childhood traumatic experiences. Oftentimes we trivialize what happens in our childhood. Oftentimes, things that happens to even little children around us, we think it doesn't matter. No, they do matter. They do matter. And today is one of the reasons why we have so many damaged adults. You're trying to change an adult today, but it's impossible. You can only raise a child, you can't correct an adult. When an adult is damaged, right? Because they're not damaged at that adulthood, they've been damaged from childhood. And along the line, when they were still, within that formative years, nothing was done to rectify that damage, and it became part of them. It shaped them. It formed them. Some went through, rough childhood. Some, were subjected to abuse. Um, I've had the opportunity of speaking to people who lifestyle than, what some of us consider as normal. I don't judge them, but I try to know where they're coming from. And, things they share with me all point back to their childhood. Things that happened to them at that period of their life that I can call blank stage, because children are born blank. It's like a black, that blackboard we use when we're in the elementary school. On Fridays, usually they will ask us to repaint it, with charcoal and make it black and everything. And then teacher comes Monday, they start writing on it. It's the same, board that the next teacher will come to write on after, we finish the first subject. No matter how you wipe, what has already been written on it, it doesn't go off. There are traces of it still there. And that's why it's important that when children are born blank, the first series of writings on their mind should be the right stuff, should be the proper stuff. And this responsibility lies in the hands of their parent. If you don't put anything there until you send them out and you allow the world to write in their mind before you do, that is what you will be struggling with. No matter how you try to erase those things, it won't go off. Those things will be there. All you are doing is just trying to write on it. And it will be, constant struggles until they eventually leave, your control. And these things are there and will continually bother them for the rest of their life. So this is where the danger of childhood lies. What people go through at that tender age of their existence. Were they damaged? What hurts and wounds were left on their minds? Do anyone care how this affected their mental state, how it shifted their mental state? Especially people who lived away from their parents, who lived with relatives, people who attended boarding school, people who had abusive, even parents. These things never leave you, especially when they are not addressed. So this is the number one poison that will always creep into your present to, poison it. Now, people around you sometimes don't understand why you behave the way you do. You have a partner that don't even understand why you think the way you do, why sometimes you go quiet, why sometimes you just want to be alone. And sometimes they just tag you to be strange. Sometimes it's normal. We just label people. But what I do is I don't label people. I interpret what I see as something that has happened to the person in the past that they are reacting to. So if you want to know a person better, you have to be willing and ready to dig a little bit into their past. You don't know a person by their present. No. You know a person better from their past, because that is where everything lies. That is where they were wired to be who you see today. Now, we have some people, myself inclusive, that are, continually working on ourselves to ensure that we are better than what we used to be. So many things we have to learn as adults, because those things were not present in our childhood. But some people left themselves the way they are, and that's why they are difficult to live with. That's why they are difficult to be around. That's why they can't even make any progress themselves, because they can't just shake off these things. They can't just come to acceptance. They can't just break it down. They can't just, process it. Some just, create a special safe room for their past and lock it up, and then put a note on it: do not enter. I used to be like that. You just shut it up there. Don't go there. Don't touch it. Don't open it. But that doesn't make those things go away. They're there. And at some point in our lives, they will always rear their ugly heads. They will always creep into our present to model up them. So, most traumatic experiences we've had, in the past, we must recognize it. We must not run away from this thing. We must not ignore them. They would, bring tears to you. They would, hurt you in several ways, and they'll do so many things to you. Yes, you have to go through. You have to go through that process to be able to come out on the other end and look at those things like, a snake that has just shed its skin. You come out fresh, clean. You see those things? Some leave terrible scars on our body. You must walk your way to the point where the wound is healed underneath that scar. You can touch it, you can flaunt it, and you don't feel ashamed. You see that those scars now as, you look at them with fond memories of, I survived this. They should have killed me. But when you still see them every time and you get angry, you get upset, and you feel, then it hasn't healed. You still have work to do. You still have work to do, because those things, whether you like it or not, they will hamper you in life. They will hinder the achievement and progress you can make. They would affect your relationship with other people, and they would not allow you to enjoy the happiness that today has to offer you. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lónìí, ayé nira fún wọn láti gbé. Nítorí pé òní ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ àná wọn. Àná ò rí dáhùn fún òní. Bí àná wọn ò bá dẹ̀ rí dáhùn fún òní fi tó ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ lẹ̀ fún wọn láti rí ilé ayé gbé. So, there is a reconciliation to do so that you'll be able to move on. And everything starts from you recognizing these things and processing them. You can't lock them up and pretend that they never happened, because they did. And whether you like it or not, they affect the way you live your life today. They do. And they will continue to do until you settle with them. If there are people you need to call and talk to, you need to do it. If, it's a point of acceptance you have to come to over certain issues, then you have to come to that point. You must have closures on some of these things for you to be able to move on. And that means you've neutralized the poison in this past. So that even if they turn up in discussions, in, experiences you see around you in the present, they do not become toxic anymore. You can actually just, but the moment you leave them, and the longer you leave them, the more potent they become. The stronger they become, the more harmful they become, the more toxic they become. And just a drop of those past experiences into your present is enough to just ruin everything for you. So the hard work you're putting in today, the effort you're making today, you're not probably getting the result you should, because you are still being held back by, some of these things that happened in your past. So you must recognize them. You must process them. And you must, work on these things. If you need to speak to experts, take the bold step to do it. Everything starts from speaking out. Everything starts from speaking out. After you've acknowledged these things, you need to, process them. You can process them alone. You can process them with other people that, you feel have experience that can help you to get over them. But what you must not do is to just ignore them or lock them out. Other people try to drown these things when they, creep into our minds. They turn to substances. Some turn to alcohol. So when you see people indulge in some of these things, I don't just look at them to say, oh, they're enjoying those things. No, it's a way of escape for them. It's a form of distraction. It's a means by which they want to drown these things speaking to them, the inside of them. But what you need to understand is those things will only work for a certain period of time. When they wear out, when the effect of them wear out, those things will come again. And when you knock yourself out again, before you know it, you become an addict. So you've in the process of trying to find solution to a thing, you've actually created another problem. So you can't run, you can't hide. You just have to face these things, because whether you like it or not, these things determine your behavior, your thoughts, your emotions, your relationship with other people, all stem from, your childhood traumatic experience. The second thing I want to talk about the second poison I want to mention, that, if we live untreated in our past, that can, um, you know, taint our present, is um, violation of trust. So, when we talk about trust, we can't talk about trust without talking about vulnerability, because um, trusting someone essentially requires you to be vulnerable, because what you're doing is you're making a choice to allow somebody in. You're opening up yourself for someone to come in, to know you, to see you beyond that facade. You're stripping yourself naked for that person. You're bringing into light everything you hide in the dark. That is trust. So it is not something to be taken with levity. It's not something to be joked with. It's not something, that we can trivialize. Many people have been hurt in the past by people they trusted, either with their secret, either with their possessions, either with their ideas. And, their trust were violated, and they were hurt in the process. What happened when you have your trust violated is that you close yourself up. You build a very big wall around yourself, because that's what your instinct will tell you. Close up, detach yourself, disconnect from everyone. Why? So that they won't hurt you again. Instantly, you want to, use that experience with that person as a blanket treatment to everyone else and say that is how people are. So anyone that approaches you, you use that past experience to deal with them. You give nobody, you don't give anyone a chance anymore. You don't. And you become that, you become paranoid. That exaggerated sense of fear becomes your daily mantra. Everyone is a suspect to you. Even where you have to deal with other people, where you are forced to deal, because realistically, as human beings, we're social animals. We can't live in isolation. Whether you like it or not, you have to deal with other people. So no matter how closed up you make yourself, at some point you will feel like, well, you have no choice, but you have to, interact with other people. And in those moments, what you want to do is to take control, you know, because that experience is not allowing you to trust anyone anymore. So you want the terms to be your own terms. And in doing this, others might just perceive you as unnecessarily difficult to deal with. And because of this, you create a reputation where people don't want to have anything to do with you. So you lose business after businesses, you lose relationship after relationship, you know, and you end up becoming an isolated person. And in your mind, because you're not looking inwards, you're not processing what is, you know, causing that or what has caused that, you point fingers and say, people don't like me. People don't want to deal with me. People hate me. But that's not the true story, because you're not looking inwards. You're not asking yourself the relevant question, why are people staying away from me? Why don't people want to deal with me? If you really probe yourself honestly, you ask yourself the right questions and you are ready to answer yourself those, you know, questions truthfully. It might lead you to this point that, you know what, I think it's my struggle with trust. I can't trust people because of what happened to me in the past. I can't, you know, make myself vulnerable anymore. And as such, the way I project myself is what is making people to see me as difficult. I've built a wall around myself. Even people that want to tell you things that will help you. No. About you throw away valuable information because you've totally lost trust in people. This has happened to several of us. But orí bíbẹ́ kọ́ ni oògùn orí fífọ́. Tọ́kọ̀ bá gbààyàn, tán bá fẹ́ du ẹ̀mí ẹ̀, ọkọ̀ náà ló máa gbé ẹ tá rush ẹ lọ hospital. So èèyàn ló ń ṣe ni, èèyàn náà ló ń gbà ni. What you should learn from the violation of your trust is to understand, you know, the cunningness of man. To understand, you know, your own lack of effort in understanding people. We had a discussion last week where we talked about, you know, how you should check people, how you should take your time to know people, and how you should build layers and layers and layers and layers of, you know, barriers before they can get to that inner core of you, you know. So that's what you should realize. There are bad people, there are good people. And you will meet all of these people in your walks of life. So when you meet the bad ones and they show you their color, you must take that experience as, okay, what can I learn from this? You know, where did I maybe let out too much for these people to have entered me? Where did I take my eyes off the ball? These are the areas that you should take note of. These are the lessons you should take along with you. And you should drop the pain and the hurt. Otherwise, you will have a partner. Tori, you're coming from a relationship where the other one is constantly lying to you. and every tó bá sọ pé òun lọ sí ibà ibòmíì lẹ ti máa bá oríṣiríṣi ni. So ìtorí yẹn your relationship ended. A new person walked into your life and you just suddenly start to doubt that person. Kò sí ní tó lè sọ kò gbàgbọ́. Ẹni ẹ̀gá máa wá yẹn pé kí ló ń happen? Relationship yóò lè work if you don't trust me. Bàbá ní àwọn ilé trust ẹ omi trust gbogbo ọkùnrin o onírọ́ ni yóò rán nǹkan mẹ́. So you've not given this person the benefit of that. So why did you even go into a relationship with the person that you can't trust? Because relationship requires trust. This is the person you will sleep with in the dead of the night. Tó mọ nǹkan kan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ mọ́. This is the person that knows, your deep secret. This is the person that has seen you naked. And take time láti mọ ẹni yẹn. O kàn kúrò in one relationship, o kàn torí bọ̀ míì. O dẹ̀ gbé hurt of that past wá. And you just think, o kàn lè máa sọ fẹ́ ni yẹn sweet and trust her. That person won't be comfortable. That person will be frustrated all the days of his life because kò sí nǹkan tó ṣe tó fẹ́ gbàgbọ́. I have been on a bus before, bus 453 from Oaken Road, Motiwo. I got on the bus and sat down just beside a random guy who was on the phone when I got in. And the bus hasn't moved like 2 minutes before this guy handed me the phone, a random person, and said, "Please help me tell this person on the phone that I am on bus 453." So I took the phone from him. I said hello. A woman, a lady's voice, answered me back. And I said, "He's sitting beside me on bus 453. Immediately after that, even the boss made an announcement. Bus 453 to Marylebone. I said, "Can you even hear the announcement?" And I handed the phone back. My mind was troubled. So at this stage, problem where you have to make random people, confirm that you're saying the truth. I started to process a lot of things. Maybe this guy has done something, really bad. Or like he's dealing with somebody who is damaged and hasn't healed from previous violation of trust, and so can't trust anybody anymore. So we're always frustrated in it. When you have to prove yourself over and beyond before they can trust you. When your yes is no longer yes. If this continues, then people will stay away from you. But then the question is this: but how can I trust people? How do I know I can trust this person? Well, but what I know is time reveals a person. So if you really want to know a person, you need to devote your time to know that person. If you really want to know a person, people give off vibes. There are red flags. So if you're somebody that is sensitive, you're somebody that can read, meanings. If you're someone that can interpret unspoken words, then you will see beyond what that person is presenting to you. You will see enough pointers that if you piece together, can give you of what the person is. But in reality, inú kì í ṣe gbá tá a bá ṣíwò Ọlọ́run nìkan la rí núròde olùmọ̀ràn kan. Ojúlẹ̀dá ń wò, Ọlọ́run nìkan ló mọnú gbogbo ẹ̀dá. Inú ẹ ló mọ̀ sẹ́lòmíì, o ò mọnú ẹlòmíì sí ẹ. So what you need to do is to take your time and study people kó tó dára dé wọn. The vibe they give off, the red flags you can pick up. Don't ignore these things. Expand on them to really know, to paint a picture of the person. Ask relevant questions that you need to know. You know a lot from discussions and dealing with people because the way they respond will give you, things that you need to know. So it's all about here and there, here and there, here and there. And we'll have people who would, maybe down based on the sensitivity of the relationship they want to form with the person. They have to test them in some ways, in some degrees. I am not the type, I don't subscribe to, especially in relationship where partners have to, test themselves to prove trust. No, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. It's awful when you test human beings with things that you know that we're all susceptible to failing at. No, you don't do it. You're testing your partner with your friend, whether he will get down with your friend. You don't do it. You either trust the person or you don't. So to get down with your friend, or to get down with your friend, but your friend doesn't, your friend is secretly jealous of the relationship you have with that person and finding every means to break you guys apart. So for any false information, come pay ocean, come buy some see the shit. You want the level of testing, definitely bias mind towards the person already. So any little thing, why do you have to do that? Why don't you take your time to study people and whatever you find out, if you want to take them with what you find out, take them and, hope that things work. And if it doesn't work, learn from what happened, let the past be the past, heal from that relationship before jumping to another one. My love for your previous relationship for the next person because you're meeting a different person entirely. You were duped in your previous business dealings with somebody else. Sit down and think of what happened, how you contributed to it, how you self-sabotage yourself. Pick the lessons from this and be more careful when you are moving into the next relationship, into the next business deal. If you went into that one simply by yourself alone, this time around, get the service of a lawyer who will help you to read the contract. You might decide that you want to draft the agreement this time yourself. You might decide, you want to have a different terms of, maybe how funds are released and things like that. Just do whatever you can do to protect yourself to a certain degree. Not that you approach people from the fact that they can't be trusted. With that, you're sabotaging yourself and you're allowing your past to poison your present because you can't move if you can't get over that past. So another poison that I want to talk about is maybe I will combine this, though they are independent, but oftentimes, but they are two different things. So failure and regret. Failures, mistakes, things that we did, decisions that we took, and didn't yield the desired result. Either they set us back, or cost us losses. And in the end, we thought we could have done this thing differently. We've all failed. We've all made mistakes. And I do tell people, mistakes are allowed. Failure is allowed. Why? Because this is our first shot at this existence. Yes, I let it worry you, but each time, one different existence. So we're trying. We're only making guesses. We're only I can be your junior. When you buy the NT Lumo. So when you attempt a thing and it doesn't work, you fail or you lost things. You can choose to take that experience as a learning curve so that the experience is not totally lost. You can learn from it and grow from it. Or you can decide to suffer from that and waste that experience by blaming yourself, by blaming people, by, just beating yourself down and just saying nasty things to yourself about, how you messed up. And with that, you won't have the fear you won't have the boldness, the courage to get up and go again. Yeah. And people will come out, let me all the time, sue me. But when you take that failure and you sit down and process it, when you don't look at it from a point of, so let me now quickly say regret. Regret is when you look back at your mistakes with the perspective of not learning from them, with the perspective of, pain. Then this robs you of, every lesson you can learn from that mistakes. Mistakes are period of great learning. These are the time we know how not to do a thing. This is when we figure out things. So you can either learn from somebody who have failed before and you learn from their experience for you to know how to navigate that thing, or you attempt it yourself, fail from it, and you learn from it. Then you get up and take those lessons and reapply it. And this time you might succeed. Or there might still be more or other things that you still need to learn from. So you can keep failing at those things until you learned all the lessons regarding that thing. And then you apply those lessons and you succeed from it. Otherwise, when you look at things from the perspective of regret, you are looking at them from the perspective of, who do I blame? How did I allow this thing to happen? You're not looking at things, in hindsight. You're not looking at them like, oh, well, okay. You're not processing. You're looking at things with anger. You're looking at them, from the point of, bitterness. And these things will rob you of the happiness of today. You must have a different approach to how you treat failures and mistakes. They are part of life. You can never ignore them. The one I do not approve of is repeating same mistakes, because that simply suggests you are not learning. But when you make new mistakes, you are getting wiser, because every mistake you make and you process well adds to your body of knowledge. It makes you become wiser. It teaches you how not to do a thing. It helps you to know how to navigate things better. That's if you take that experience and that lesson with you. But when you look back at your mistakes with regret, you're looking at it from the perspective of blaming, anger, resentment. At that moment, you can't see clearly, you can't listen to nobody, you're not learning, everything is just, you're focusing on the loss. So much of the things I know today, or that I can do today, came as a result of failing at those things in the past, or failing at some other things that led me to knowing those things as, me in the process of improving myself. So every time I fail at the thing, I only take it as, oh boy, otitu sanwo, ignorance in here. So the way people pay for knowledge is the way you have to pay for ignorance. In your badem, so money. Ignorance no dey fit approach here. So sit down and learn. Don't waste that tuition. The loss you suffered from it is the tuition you've paid. Don't waste it. Take advantage of it to learn. And after you've completed that learning process, move on and drop that hurt and pain and loss. Shed them. And take only with you lessons into your future. If you allow that poison of failure to seep into your present, it will poison your present. But when you look at failure as a path, or a part of the process to success, then you won't see it as, you won't look at it in regret. You will look at it as, what do I need to learn from it? Now, I'm not telling you not to feel, pain when you fail at a thing or you suffer a loss. No, it's normal for us to feel angry when we fail at a thing. It's normal. That is a normal reaction to such an occurrence or such experience. But you must not dwell in it. So when things don't go the way you expect them to go, that moment is simply telling you something, and you need to pay attention. Stop struggling with it. Stop, pushing things to make it go the way you want. It might eventually make things worse. So what you need to do is just to pay attention. What is this moment telling me? What can I pick from this situation? I've dabbled into things that, I didn't know about. Big time. But I did not allow those moments to be lost. Mo calm down. Mo admin pay, mo ti fumble. Mo take advantage opportunity to squeeze every form of knowledge or lesson from that event. And guess what? I've used those things to even recover my losses back. I've used those, failures to create things that even rewarded me back. I've used those experiences to help other people. okay, èmi kò lè help èmi mọ́ because mo ti fumble, but àwọn kan wà tó jẹ́ pé mo sì lè rà padà lọ́wọ́ wàhálà yẹn. That is how to take advantage of moments like that. Yes, it's poisonous because it leaves, a toxic um, um, substance or moment in your life. It leaves that bitterness in you. You should not come into your presence. Only few people, exceptional people, would try a thing and get it the first time. But people have succeeded. There's so many things that we even benefit from today. They get it at the first try. They try, they fail, they try, they fail, and until they got it right. So you cannot become a better person without tasting failure. You can't have a room for self-improvement if you have not made mistakes, which exposes you to the areas that you need to work on and become better. So when you fall, dust yourself up, get up, look at what tripped you, because you still have many of those things on your path going forward. Wọ́n ní bọ́mọdé bá ṣubú, àwòwájú tágbà bá ṣubú àwẹ̀yìn. Àgbà ti ní experience pé àjẹ́ ohun tó kọ́ mi lẹ́sẹ̀, because irú ẹ̀ sì lè kù níwájú. So just look at it. Òkúta gbé ẹ ṣubú, wá ń lọ bẹ̀ olóńkó àbàrà bo òkúta. Àwọn tó bá ń wò lóòkan á máa lò ti ní mental problem, and yeah, rightly so. Because báwo lè òkúta kò ní feeling náà, ó fẹ́ nà, ó ń na òkúta. But what you should do is, okay, irú àwọn kìíní pọ̀ lọ́nà o. So bó ṣe wá ń lọ yẹn, wàá máa tọ̀ jẹ́ tó yẹ kó gbẹ́sẹ̀ sí, wàá mọ ibi tó yẹ kó gbẹ́sẹ̀ sí. Don't spend the rest of your life saying, I wish I could have done it like this. I wish I could have said things like this. I wish I could have asked for this. I wish I didn't allow this person. I wish I didn't. Yes, but you didn't. And that opportunity is gone. Accept it. Oh, ká ní mo ṣe ni nǹkan báyìí ni ò bá ti dà fún mi, mi ò bá ti di kíní báyìí lénìí. Okay, ṣe, dẹ̀ dá nǹkan yẹn, but ìrètí ò pin fún ẹ, àyè ṣì wà. You can't change your past, and it's not right for your present to suffer that punishment. Má fi ìyà àná jẹ òní náà. Gba àná bó ti rí. Fún òní láàyè láti tún àná ẹ̀ ṣe. No matter how you look back into the past with regret, it won't undo what has happened. And whether I like it or not, instantly, tó ṣe mistake kan tán, you are presented with another situation where you have to make another decision. Every moment of our life, we are faced with another opportunity to make decisions. So ṣé wàá wá pile ẹjọ́ nítorí pé o ti ṣe mistake ẹyọ kan? Wàá jẹ́ kí regret kó wá máa influence gbogbo decision yòókù tó ń take. Before you know it, inú ẹ̀rù ló máa gbé. You can't decide anything anymore. You're panicking. You don't trust yourself anymore. You don't trust your instinct anymore. You now begin to doubt yourself. And once you allow this to take hold of you, you continue to make series of mistakes after mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. So, making a decision is simply you being presented with so many options, and you have to pick the one you think is the best at that moment. So to pick the best. nǹkan tó ṣe ń time tó ṣe yẹn ló feel pé that is the best. Footballers on the pitch, when they make passes at that instant, they think that is the best pass they have to make at that decision. They are at that moment. They think that the decision is what they have to make at that moment. Àwọn tó jókòó sórí sideline ló mọ̀ pé kò bá ti pass sẹ́ni. Then when they sit down the next day and they have to track the game and do analysis of the game, then they will see those things they should have done differently. But can they go and set up the match again? No. They'll just have to learn that, okay, I will find myself in this situation again. Before releasing that ball, do I look again if I have a better option? It's just that split moment, that split second that you have to, just pause instead of just releasing it. Okay, in this situation, Timon dance around the ball. Should I have just kicked it out? Because that is a danger zone. These areas you don't make mistakes. You own she imagine be. You take decision. And here it be boot your garden and let the team regroup and come and defend. It's not a place you want to make the perfect pass or whatever thing like that. It's a danger zone. Get rid of the ball. It is after that they will look and process these things. And sometimes their mistake could cost the team in winning a championship or winning a league or whatever thing like that. You cannot kill yourself over it because at the end of the day, that is not the last game you will play. You just have to get yourself up and go the next time. And do better the next time. People will forget. You also have to forgive yourself. Forget that mistake and go again. And when the opportunity presents itself again for you to, do it better, do it. Saka lost a penalty at the final of Euro. They lost a major championship. Guess what this boy has done so far? He has been taking penalties and he has been scoring them. What some other people will do is they will fold. They will stop taking it because they can't recover from what has happened. Gbogbo ayé dojúlé wọn, ó di wàhálà gidi mà ni. Ó di wàhálà gidi pé tí ò bá wà mentally strong, ó lè gbàbẹ̀ deep, ó lè tẹ̀ lóun retire from football. But no, he took it up that this thing won't define me. I would tell you, it was from that experience that Bukayo became a man. I said it to people around me. I said, this boy became a man today. Because when he came back to Arsenal, the first game we had and we had penalties, he took it. And when he scored, I said, this guy has broken this shackle. Of course, I think he's lost one penalty after that. I can't remember that game, but he lost another penalty. But he hasn't stopped taking them. So far, láti by tó ti lose the Euro, I think he has taken like 5 or 7, and he's only lost 1 out of all that. That is somebody that does not allow their past mistake to define them. The opportunity to do it again will come. And you have to be ready to take the opportunity again and do it and break that thing and break it for life. And then the last one I want to talk about as I round up is anger. Anger of the past. Today, people are just angry. People are just angry. Everybody, buruku. And anger is poisonous. Because it destroys. It destroys. Anger creates boundaries between you and, around you. Anger takes you away from looking at solutions. It keeps you focused on the problem. When you're angry, you only listen to yourself more and not what people around you or the situation around you is saying. And as such, you have a tunnel vision. You can't see wide. Your vision is narrow. So you need to understand and process what is underlying this reaction, this emotional outburst. Why? What is the pain? What is causing this? Because you cannot hold anger forever. On this platform, I've explained, I dedicated a show to anger. I titled it Anger, Your Wise Friend, a wise friend. So anger is, to me, is really not a bad thing, because it's like that warning sign on the dashboard of your car saying this thing needs attention. Work on this thing. Iná radiator ń show. Ó ti ń sọ pé omi ti ń gbẹ́nu radiator yẹn ni. Ó ń tanná. So when you are angry, it's highlighting or pointing out something that you are not happy about, something that you need to work on. And that is what you should go towards. Fix that thing. But when you suppress the anger, you bottle it up, and then you don't do anything about it. That is what becomes huh? Oti sapa mi lórí nsìn. But that ends up becoming an outburst where it becomes unmanageable. You can't manage it anymore. Uma tukani, uma fokani. But anger in itself is a friend that is warning you, pé we're walking here, sort it out. Maybe the way somebody's, talk to you is what you don't like. You get angry. You are not angry at the person, you are angry at the way the person spoke to you. So what you need to do is just to let that person know, communicate to the person how you would appreciate, being spoken to, how you would prefer they approach you. But when you bottle it up, to disinu, tis sort it out, or keep bitterness in it, any wa ma ṣọ́ lọ́wọ́ lẹ́sẹ̀ ni. Ọjọ́ tẹ́ni bá rìn gbèrègbèrè sọ́dọ̀ mi, máa bà ayé jẹ́. Constantly o kàn wá kẹ́ni ẹ̀ kàn ṣe mistake. Kó kàn ṣe mistake. Kó kàn ṣe mistake. Wà finish ẹni. That is rage. Yes, nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ rántí mo ti rántí nsìn. Rage is what is bad. Anger is a friend, because anger tells you, it points out what you need to work on, what you are not happy about, what needs your attention, what needs your effort, what needs tweaking. But when you bottle it up and you don't do anything about it, it begins to pile up, and the day it will explode, it becomes a rage. Àwọn èèyàn ní wọn ríru eléyìí o, ó balẹ̀ jẹ́ gan ni o, ó tíà gan ni o. That is not anger, that is rage. Unexpressed anger, untreated anger, pent up anger, piled up anger. and it affects your mental stage, it affects your mind, affects your relationship with other people. It keeps you in perpetual state of unhappiness. So eventually, wàá di wàá máa kan bí ajá elékuru. But what you need to do is to communicate. Let them know. I don't appreciate this, you prefer this, and wàá rí pé kíní yẹn á fi ẹ́ lẹ̀. But tó o bá take note of it, tó pile ẹjọ́, it's not going anywhere. Ó wà ńbẹ̀. Every day inú ẹ̀ ń bàjẹ́. Every day òun rí ẹni yẹn kò tẹ́ ẹ lọ́rùn. Every day situation yẹn òun rí, you are not happy. O ò ní rí ojúmọ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan gbé, o ò ní láyọ̀. Ọkàn á máa ṣe gìs, inú á máa bí ẹ, ẹnu ẹ̀ gan á máa korò ńgbà míì. Because all these emotions have a way of affecting our overall health, our overall well-being. We take them to be emotions alone. No, we don't fall sick. We do sickness. We do sickness by what we eat, how we live, and the way we think. Àwọn nǹkan tó ń mú wa ṣàìsàn nìyẹn. So when you can clear your head, clear your mind, be in control of your emotions, deal with things as they occur, put things where they should be, the one that should be in the past remain in the past, resolved, closure, done, and left it at that. You take lessons along with you, you treat people on individual basis, not what somebody else has done for you. You will be at peace. Wàá máa dán, ọkàn á balẹ̀, irun ò ní máa já lórí ẹ. You won't be spending the rest of your life buying, cosmetics to look pretty. You will look pretty because inú lẹwà ti ń jáde. Ìgbìyànjú lásán lẹ̀ṣọ́ òde. Tínú ẹ bá dùn, tọkàn ẹ bá balẹ̀, ẹwà ẹ máa jáde. Wàá máa dán, wàá dàbí àwọn tí áńgẹ́lì wá ń wẹ̀ fún ni. So this, my friends, are the poisons of the past that I, want to live with each one of us. Like I said, tonight's discussion is leaving you with work to be done. These are things I want us to take away and go and work on. How is our past affecting our present? What are those things, those poisons of the past that we are allowing to seep into our present and make today toxic for us? We need to deal with them. We cannot ignore them. This is all I have for us tonight. And there are a few comments here. My sister Abibi says, it's very hard to push through trauma. Yes, it is. I cannot ignore that. So I'm still struggling so bad, but I find ways to cope and push through. Keep trying, my sister. Keep trying. You can't ignore them, but you have to take them bit by bit. You have to acknowledge they happen, and you have to work on them. It's scary to trust people or want to deepen relationship because I just want to be normal. Well, we can't live in isolation. Whether we like it or not, we would have to do things with other people. So what you need to do is to, know people, find out people, and trust them or do things with them according to the level of trust that you think you have in them. But don't just pick people and say because somebody done this to you, then there is nobody around to be trusted anymore. that is wrong. You'll be missing a lot of things. My brother, Emmanuel Makinde, I greet you, my brother. How you doing? Opa India, 44 minutes, like infilate. The law. Banji, and you know, 1 hour. Kilo day. Well, the show is there for you to link up again and try to catch up. Maybe part of the start that you missed. My brother Egbon Ekaleo Chegon Bagbemi, good to have you on the show as well. And you make a very, very valid point, which I'll use to round up the show. You say we can't heal what we don't reveal. Yes, 100%. 100%. You know, the first thing, like I said earlier, is admittance. Yes, this thing happened. And this is how it impacted me. Okay. But it shouldn't define me or condemn me to a point of irrelevance. Because this is not all that is about me. I need to get up, shake this off, and move on. It's easier said than done. So I'm not saying this thing like by tomorrow, yeah, keep going till you know. Anything about buying sorry gone for years. For years. But the fact that I want to live a better life, the fact that I want to move on, the fact that I don't want these things holding me back is what keeps on driving me to work on them. So you have to be intentional to ensure that you get above these things and they no longer define or hamper you from progressing in life. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. And for those who didn't catch the start, the recorded version of the show will be there, and you can, take a moment to go through it up to the point that you joined, so that you can have, the full, story. Until we meet again next week, Friday, remain blessed and God bless you. Udaro.
Ṣàṣà ènìyàn nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní lẹ́yìn, tẹ̀rù tọmọ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní lójú ẹni. Ọmọ aráyé abániwọ̀nràn pa orí dání wọn. Ayé ò fẹ́ ní ìfọ̀rọ̀, orí ẹni ní pẹ́ kó yẹ ni. You gotta be strong cause the world is a battlefield. Òjò láyé ó gbé ní lọ, bá ò bá mọ̀ wẹ̀. Má ṣe lọ́la òtọ́ láì bá dé, tread softly dákun ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Ilé ayé ogun ni ó gbọ̀gbọ́n. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà rẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká má ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Tíbi tí ẹ là tẹ́lẹ̀ ayé, kò má ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣàlàmọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ṣé rántí a ò mẹ́rin ìjọba ẹ̀wẹ̀kú ẹ̀wẹ̀lẹ̀? Àwọn lọ́tẹ̀ to be wise to survive and keep your sanity. Ọjà ọ̀dájú ní ilé ayé, o ní láti mọ̀ ọ́n rà. Àyàgbé ọ̀gẹ̀gẹ̀ tó bá ti lówó, ọ̀yàn òun ló wà lọ́jọ́ ogúndé. Ọwọ́ epo láyé ńlá, wọ́n kì í lá tẹ̀jẹ̀. Ara lámù á ò mọ́nú, ẹ̀yìn ayé yẹ kó rọra ṣe. Ṣọ́ra, ṣọ́ra. Pọ́sọ̀ fura, pọ́sọ̀ ti jọ́ sí iná. Ẹ̀sùn pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gba ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ o. Tíbi tirẹ̀ lágàlẹ̀ ayé, kò máa ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ọ́la. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o. Ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́ o. Inú ẹni ṣàlámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ẹ̀sùn pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gba ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Tíbi tirẹ̀ lágàlẹ̀ ayé, kò máa ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ọ́la. Ilẹ̀kùn bá jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o. Ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́, inú ẹni ṣàlámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ẹ̀sùn pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gba ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi ṣòwò tí a lábẹ́lẹ̀ ayé, àgbà tó ti fi tó ọ̀la yòókù lọ́gbọ́n. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o. Ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́, inú ẹni ṣàlámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́.